This is Bofades, and he is locked in ZF until he earns 1 million gold from this dungeon and this dungeon alone. Hi everyone, and welcome back to the series where we are locked in ZF until we earn 1 million gold. Today's episode is going to cover runs 231 through 240. Before we get started, let's take a look at what we sold overnight. Alright, looks like we made 1,922 gold overnight. Primarily trade goods, with that pattern for the red mage weave shoulders coming in at 47 gold. Someone in the comments said that they think they're the buyers of this. And then we sold one of those Squirpashi sashes for 653 gold. Both of these are well below market. Let's go ahead and get all that in the bags. All right, looks like we are at 249,867 gold. However, that's not where we're going to start today. On one realm, we sold the plans for the Mithril Spurs for 401 gold, below market value. And on another realm, we sold one of our 12 plans for the Light Earthforged Blade for 308 gold, well below market value. And on the other server, we sold 2,748 gold worth of transmog items. I'm betting that both Sunscale sales here were from the same person. So add all that up, and that is 3,457 gold. Let's go ahead and pay ourselves. All right, that puts our actual total at 253,324 gold, which is right at a token, I think. A little bit below a token, but almost there, just from this place. As promised in yesterday's video, we're going to start off today's video opening up all these lockboxes. There were a lot less than I thought there were, but I think that's okay. And actually, before I open them, I want to take a look at a few comments because these are going to start our runs today. First comment says, quote, "I'm doing this YouTube thing wrong." Nah, man, you're doing just fine. If anything, you're not the same old same, which can be refreshing at times. All right, that pertains to a comment I made yesterday about the fact that what we're doing here is very different from what you see on most other channels. You see some channels just trying to farm up gold to get a token or farm up gold for like 1 million gold, you know? Or some channels where they're showing you like the loot after 100 runs. And then you have some channels that are just like challenges, right? And what I decided to do here and on Socrates' channel is kind of like blend all those ideas to where we're running dungeons, we're trying to earn a certain amount of gold, and there's a challenge on top of it all. But what I was really saying is that I'm doing YouTube wrong in that every video for what now, 25, 26 videos, we are in the same dungeon, killing the same mobs over and over and over. And for me, the player, it's not a big deal. I don't mind doing this at all. But the notion that this might be entertaining to viewers is something that would be criticized by most people with channels on YouTube, right? They'd say that you need to like, do a lot more different things in your videos. And we are locked in to the same thing here, which is what makes it a challenge after all, right? Next comment says, "I'm going to copy a comment I left on an older video once. Ignore if you answered it before. Why don't people not just buy the items on realms where they are cheap, make an alt, and transfer gold with the Warband Bank and save 90% of the price? For cheap items, people might be lazy, but for tens of thousands of gold..." Yeah, you gave half the answer right there. For the most part, people are lazy, and they don't want to spend the time, making a level 1, running over to Stormwind or wherever, opening up the Warband, getting X amount of gold, walking back over to the auction house, searching for the item, buying it, right? There is that level of laziness when it comes to people with tons of gold. And so those people, whenever they look at an item like, let's say, Vanguard leg plates, on their realm it might be 100k, and then on the cheapest realm it might be 40k. Like they'll do a calculation and they'll say, okay, is it worth doing everything I just said to save 60k? And in many cases they don't think it is, and they'll just buy it from their own realm. The second answer, and this is I think the one that's more accurate or more correct, is that a lot of people don't know about Undermine Exchange. They don't know that they can actually go to some other realm and buy some other item for a lot cheaper. But I will say the people that do know about it are the ones that are looking for items like the Fight Club. Like someone that's wanting to buy the Fight Club, they're going to look at this site right here. They're going to see that there are 2 across US realms. And they may come here because they don't see one on their realm and they're just really wanting one. Or they might come here because it's on their realm, say they're on Agrimar, and it's up for 7.5 million. And they're like, there's no way I want to pay 7.5 million gold for this thing. So then they would create a character on a loon and go buy it for 2 million if they're okay with the 2 million. And that's why it's so hard to sell super items, because you have to have the cheapest one up across your entire realm at the right time when the right buyer is willing to buy it. And I think that'd be true for a lot of items that we might get from here even. So like if I were to get the Glorious Leg Plates, for example, most likely a person will come here and they will compare these prices and they'll see that it's up for 100,000 somewhere and they're not willing to spend 500k. So they might go make a character on Moonguard and buy one of the 9 that are up there right now. So for me, as exciting as it is to potentially get Glorious Leg Plates here, I know that it's going to be kind of a bear to sell. All right, last comment says, "To help bring in more viewers, you should give away half or all of the gold to someone who subscribes." Yeah, I'm not going to do that. I've never been a fan of the giveaway method because you end up with a lot of like surface level fans or surface level subscribers, people that only joined your channel or join your community because they want to just get something out of it, get something other than like entertainment. And besides that, and this might shock you, it's not a huge deal for me to try to get a spike in viewership this early on in the channel. I created this channel with the idea and actually with the desire to have a slow burn, to have like this consistent, slow upward trajectory of people that are stopping by, liking it, subscribing to it. So I'm not desperate for viewers. I'm not desperate for subscribers, because if I were, I think my desperation would come across in the videos, which would make it really lame for you guys to watch. All right, with all that out of the way, I think we can start opening up lockboxes. So we're gonna start Loot Appraiser a little early. After I open up the last lockbox, we're gonna eat our fried bonefish and officially get started. But hopefully we get something good in these boxes here, okay? Start that up and let's do this. All right, first thing's a Star Ruby, Black Forge leggings, Myrmidon's pauldrons, Chieftain's belt, pattern for the big voodoo pants, Escape stave, Gothic plate armor. That Gothic stuff used to sell back in the day. Abjurer's pants, Revenant girdle, Abjurer's hood, Hibernal cloak, Gossamer belt. Gossamer used to be good too back in the day. Myrmidon's pauldrons, Abjurer's sash, grinning axe of the quickblade, gigantic war axe, Journeyman's backpack, Chieftain's bracers, Chieftain's cloak, Gothic plate helmet, Band of the unicorn. Hey, we got a blue. Golden shard leggings, and then the Imperial leather breastplate. And then the Royal Mallet of the Fire Flash. Okay, I'm going to vendor all of this except for the blue leggings. Let me do that real quick. All right, let's go ahead and eat our fried bonefish. The only thing that we kept from that were the leggings, which are apparently worth about 5K across the U.S. region. And that puts our starting looted item value at 19K. Subtract 14 from that, and that's where we actually are. All right, let's go have a good 10 runs. If it were earlier in the challenge, like let's say the first like 30, 40 runs of the challenge, I potentially would have kept some of those greens that we just got from the boxes. All right, guys, hand wraps, the first green that dinged today. Opulent mantle, heroic girdle, Brutus shield. I'm gonna go ahead and turn off the gray notification filter. I've done about 30 runs on both channels, and I've realized that the grays that are dropping aren't worth putting up. And that's not to say that all grays are worthless, like all grays aren't worthy of putting up on the auction house. Squirpashi slippers. It's more that the grays from here and from Scarlet Monastery aren't necessarily worth putting up, based on what I've noticed about those particular ones. I made a claim yesterday that the top two things that like make up the foundation of a YouTube channel are skill and variety. Bloodwoven mask, lunar raiment, ironhide greaves, and someone in the comments suggested that there's at least a third thing that helps a YouTube channel succeed or a streamer succeed, and that is being an attractive lady. Hey, a troll protector, which he's not wrong, but how am I gonna how am I gonna compete with that, right? But it was the second part of his comment that I think deserves more attention. Bloodlust. And that is that the content creator has a personality that you kind of vibe with, which is so true, right? And when the personality is coupled with skill or, you know, variety, it should be no surprise to any of us that at some point that channel or that content creator is just going to take off. Griffin Mail belt from the same mobs that we typically get Griffin Mail belts from. Like, some of my favorite content creators to watch are like average at the game they play, or even potentially below average. Sunscale Spalders. I just watch them because they're, you know, they're entertaining or they're doing something interesting in the game, in a game that I like. Flaming Incinerator, which I'm now wondering, as I'm thinking out loud in front of you, if that's like an age thing. Like, as I've gotten older, the type of gaming content that I like to consume has changed. Bloodwoven boots. It's as if I like stories more now. Like keeping up with some sort of journey. Got another blue. We're getting several blues today. But that one's so bad it didn't even ding. But following along with some sort of journey or challenge is just more interesting to me than watching a video of someone go like, you know, 35-2 in like a PvP match of, you know, like a first-person shooter or something. Like watching someone get 20 kills in an Apex Legends match is for sure entertaining for the first few times that you see it happen. But it's not necessarily something that would bring me back to that channel a lot. Is that a boomer take? I kind of feel like that's a boomer take. First round of vending brought in 438 gold. Oh, someone asked on this channel, or perhaps Socrates' channel, about the names of the characters. Like if there's a reason behind why I went with Socrates and Bofades. And I've given some insight on Bofades here, but this next thing I'm going to say might give a little bit more context. So I am a student of philosophy, and I'm an avid reader. Ooh, Celestial Pauldrons. Like nearly half the catalog of my publishing house is philosophy books, and I've actually written a few books on Stoicism and Absurdism. Anyway, so when it comes to like naming a new character in WoW, I always tend to create a name or pick a name from history that sounds like a philosopher. And apparently other people like to do that too, because if you notice Socrates' spelling of his name, it's not what would sound like Socrates. It would sound like Socrates. I had to spell it that way because all the other spellings were taken. So when it came to Bofades here, my very first troll, Dark Mist Wraps, I wanted to be a little cheeky with his name, but also make it sound like a philosopher. And I think by now most of you or all of you are in on the joke of his name. Lunar Vest, Brutish Leg Guards, Imposing Bandana. So yeah, if you were to go down my login screen, you would see characters named Aristotle, Plato, several Socrates. Any female character that I've created, her name is Aspasia, who was reportedly Socrates' teacher in history. Bloodforged Helmet, Tyrant's Chestpiece, Praetorian Wristbands, Arachnidian Footpads. Another round of vendoring there, 364 gold. Hey, we got another Black Skull Shield. Let's go. It's not a Skull Flame, but it's an epic. An epic is an epic, am I right? As long as it's not a trinket or a ring. Griffin Mail Buckler, Jade Fire Sabatons, a Rune Ring, Bloodwoven Pads. Hey, thanks for the sub. Appreciate it. Griffin Wing Longbow, another blue. Bloodwoven Mask, Gaia's Hand Wraps, Bloodforged Shoulder Pads, Brutish Shield, Forgotten Wraps, another blue. All right, guys, that does it for these 10 runs. Let's go ahead and sell some stuff. All right, I'm going to move some stuff around here, and we'll talk about the good stuff that we got. All right, guys, I've moved everything that is worth looking at, worth posting somewhere into this bag right here. Looking at the greens, a lot of familiar faces here. Bloodwoven Boots, Bloodforged Helmet, Bloodwoven Mask, 2 of those, Bloodforged Shoulders, Bloodlust Breeches, Bloodwoven Pads, 2 of those, Griffin Mail Belt, Sunscale Spalders, and Tyrant's Chestpiece. We actually got 7 blues today, which is quite a bit, actually. We got a Runed Ring, which, you know, we got a Heart-Seeking Crossbow, not worth a lot. Golem Shard Leggings, these were in the lockboxes. Or this was in a lockbox earlier, right? We got Forgotten Wraps. We got a Flaming Incinerator. We got another bow, Griffin Wing Longbow. And we got another Troll Protector. And then our best item of the day is a Black Skull Shield. This is our second. Looks like this. Has like a PlayStation 2 vibe in the middle there. This is the only one worth looking at on Undermine Exchange. There are 79 across US realms, 5,000 on the low end, 48k for a median. And as you can see, it goes from 5k to 14k very quickly. So this is for sure a good item. Look at this. Even on Area 52, 35k. Where's Moonguard? Ooh, Moonguard, 63k. That's interesting. All right, looks like our looted item value is 656,417 gold. Oh, I forgot about the Celestial Pauldrons. Hold up. Oh, yeah. Look at these guys. Totally forgot we looted them. I think these are worth looking up. 137 across US realms. Someone's selling it for 713. 52k for a median. So, yeah, as you look at this first page, you can see that it takes the whole first page to get to 25k. So it's not even quite at the median by the end of this first page here. But this is definitely an item you want to put up on a medium or a low pop and just let it sit for a while. Because look at these prices. So yeah, I would say these are a decent 10 runs. There's lots of items here that are worth putting up somewhere. And if this were your first 10 runs in here, this would be a great success. Like if you're needing to put stuff up on the auction house, a lot of variety here for sure. Our ending total of gold today before I sell things, disenchant things, move things around is 256,331 gold, which is just 5k shy of a token. We've been in here for less than a month, so we can technically say that you can get a token from just farming ZF an hour a day for a month, but I'm not sure a lot of people would want to do that. So that does it for today. If you enjoy this sort of content, I would encourage you to like, comment, subscribe, do whatever it is you do to engage with YouTube videos and YouTube channels. Bofades here is closing in on 1,000 subs, which is a major, major milestone. And if you're already part of that first 1,000 sub club, I want to say thank you. And a big shout out to those of you that have been here since episode 1 or 2, because this has been a journey, right? So anyway, until next time, take care. See you soon.